I've got 5 tips for you if you're spending Christmas alone and you're not looking forward to it. I've had a couple of Christmases alone myself, and from that experience I've come up with some ideas about how you can make it into a lovely festive season. You get plenty of rest and relaxation, do the things you'd like to do, and enjoy the holidays. So let's get started. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rachel. This is Rachel for Real. We're coming up to Christmas very, very soon, about a week and a half now. And I wanted to share some of my thoughts on spending Christmas alone, if that's the case for you this year. Christmas is a very funny time, isn't it? It has all sorts of expectations and supposed tos and should do's and will do's. But actually, Christmas should be a time of celebration. It can be a time spending, a few days with family or friends, going to Christmas parties maybe, or attending carol concerts, going to a Christmas service at church if you're religious, and lots of children's activities. But sometimes we find ourselves alone through divorce or bereavement, or just simply because our friends and family are doing other things this year. We can't fit everything into 2 or 3 days. So maybe this is your first Christmas and you're not looking forward to it. Well, let me reassure you, you can have a lovely, lovely Christmas. And I'm going to tell you how. First of all, I think you need to decide whether you're going to do Christmas or not. And what I mean by this is, are you going to ignore the fact it's Christmas and just spend the day at home as if it's, a day off from work or a Sunday? You can have lovely, relaxing Sundays. You can do the same on Christmas Day. If you're not going to do Christmas, think about what you'd like to do instead. You don't have to decorate with Christmas decorations. You don't have to have Christmas food. You can have whatever you want. That is the beauty and the joy of having Christmas on your own. There's nobody else to suit except yourself. On the other hand, if you do like Christmas and you really want to get into the festive spirit, to decorate your home, to have Christmas dinner, you can do that. That, again, is your choice, and it's just you who you have to please. Wow, what a relief that is, isn't it? Not having to please 6 or 7 other people. So yeah, decide whether you want to do Christmas. I think that's the first step, isn't it? Because then everything you do afterwards is shaped by that decision. So if you're decorating, you could put on some nice Christmas music, get the decorations out to make the place look all lovely and sparkly. And if you're not doing it, then maybe have a tidy up, a declutter, and make the place a nice, comfortable sanctuary for yourself. Tip number 2, prepare for the day before it happens. Don't just wake up on Christmas morning thinking, oh God, it's such a long day stretching ahead of me and I don't know what to do myself and everybody's having more fun than me and oh, it's just awful and I'm mopey and grumpy and I don't want to do today. If you've prepared in advance, you know what you're going to do for the day. You've already decided. And I think one of the lovely things about having the time on your own is you don't have to do what you've always traditionally done. You can start your own traditions. So if you've always been with family at Christmas time and you've had to have breakfast before you opened your presents and you didn't particularly like that because you were itching to rip open that wrapping paper and see what was inside, then it's your Christmas. You can open your presents the minute you wake up if you want to. You can open your presents in the afternoon. You can open your presents on Boxing Day. Whatever you want to do, you can do. So set those new traditions, and then if in the future you have Christmases on your own again, you can do it the same way, and that will feel normal and natural for you. That will be Christmas Day for you, the new Christmas Day. So maybe you'd like to make yourself a lovely breakfast. If you've already been to the shops or done an online order, you've got the food that you like to eat for breakfast for a special occasion. Maybe you'd like a glass of bubbly, maybe you'd like Bucks Fizz, coffee, tea, whatever you enjoy drinking. And whatever food you like. It doesn't have to be smoked salmon and scrambled eggs and, you know, fancy things that people quite often have at Christmas. Excuse me. It can be anything you want. So if you want a slice of toast and jam, have that. Great. Further on in the day, after you've done breakfast, presents, whatever you've decided to do when you get up, if you've planned ahead and you've got hobbies that you like to do, so maybe you enjoy painting or sketching, perhaps you like crafts like knitting and crocheting. In the run up to Christmas, make sure you've got all the supplies you need. You know what you're going to do. So if you're making, you're knitting a scarf, you've got the right size knitting needles, you've got the yarn, the pattern if you need a pattern. You're all ready to go. So when the time comes and it feels right to get out your crafting materials, they're all there ready for you, and you can just start, and it can be so relaxing. You put some music on, maybe you've made a playlist of your favourite songs. Don't have to be Christmas songs, they can be anything. So you've got your music playing, maybe you've got a candle lit, all snuggled up, start doing your crafts. Painting. Paint a scene from somewhere you went on holiday last year. Paint a Christmas scene. Whatever inspires you on the day. But it's important to have all those things prepared so that you're not milling around bored and at a loose end. You have things to do. You've got things that you're looking forward to. And that is the point of preparing for Christmas Day on your own. You've got things to look forward to. You've got everything ready to go. And that'll make it a lovely day because you're doing things you love to do anyway. Perhaps you've written a little list of the TV programmes you'd like to watch or films that are on that you enjoy. You've seen them before. They're quite comforting because you know what happens. Maybe there's films that you've never seen and you've always wanted to, and now you've got that dedicated time when there's no other pulls on you to sit down and watch those films. Personally, I'm not really a Christmas film fan. I find them a bit sickly sweet, with the exclusion possibly of Miracle on 34th Street, which I like, with Richard Attenborough. playing Father Christmas. That's a lovely film. It is a bit sloppy, but I like that film. And probably my all-time favourite is The Muppets Christmas Carol, because it's hilarious. I just love it because I'm a big kid, really. I also like watching The Gruffalo. So if The Gruffalo's on, fabulous, that's me happy. So yeah, have a list of what you'd like to do hobby-wise, what you'd like to watch, what you'd like to listen to. Perhaps you go to church on Christmas morning, so get ready and go out and do that. That's a lovely way to spend Christmas if you're religious. That's a beautiful way to spend Christmas, and to be in community as well, so you won't feel so alone if that's how you feel in the run-up to Christmas. So starting new traditions for yourselves is quite important, I think. If we try and do the Christmas we've always had with family, perhaps from childhood, maybe you'll go back to your childhood home as an adult and do the things you've always done for years and years and years, because that's your family Christmas. Well, if you try and do that this Christmas on your own, it's going to feel really strange. It won't work. The people aren't there. It's a different environment. You go into it with a different expectation. So start your own traditions. As I said, you choose what you do when you get up, when you open your presents, when you have your breakfast, what you eat for Christmas dinner. If you've never really liked, the traditional turkey or goose in some people's cases, mostly turkey, I think, don't have it, There is no requirement to have turkey at Christmas if you don't want turkey at Christmas. If you like curry, make yourself a lovely curry. If you want easy peasy, stick a pizza in the oven. If you want 3 puddings, have 3 puddings. There's nobody there to tell you you can't. You can have exactly what you want, exactly how much you want, exactly when you want it. So that in itself, it's lovely. You're not on somebody else's timetable. So whatever you like to eat and drink, buy that in, and that becomes your new tradition. If this year, it doesn't work and you decide not to do it next year, that's absolutely fine. It's all trial and error, isn't it? We have to see what feels right. We're doing a new Christmas, so there might be a few teething problems, but that's okay. No Christmas is perfect, is it? With other people or on your own. So tip number 4 would be, if possible, move your body. It can be quite a sluggish time of year. It's very dark early, and it can be very cold at this time of year. We're sort of rushing around before Christmas, buying presents and sorting food out, and maybe we've got different functions to go to, and everybody's a little bit frazzled and a little bit tired and possibly got colds and coughs and things. So I think we start Christmas Day feeling a bit ragged sometimes, don't we? Especially if you've got a lot of people to cater for and you've done all the preparation, all the wrapping, all the shopping and all the cooking. You're exhausted. But if you're on your own, you've got the option to not go into that much preparation. There's only you to cook for and to plan for. So it's not quite as arduous doing it on your own. But I think getting out for a walk, if you're able, or a run, if you're a runner, is a really nice time just for yourself. Get some fresh air, get some exercise, see the world is still existing outside of your four walls. There's always people walking dogs and children riding new bicycles and things on Christmas Day. So you can go out there and wish them Merry Christmas, say hello, have a look at all the pretty twinkly lights in the windows. And that's a nice thing to do. I like doing that on Christmas Eve personally. If I'm on my own on Christmas Eve, then I'll have a walk around the neighbourhood and have a look at all the pretty lights. A lot of people don't close their curtains when it gets dark, so after about 3 o'clock, a lot of people have got the curtains open, but they've got the lights on. You can see the trees in the windows. They've got nice, pretty white lights in the trees in the gardens, and it's lovely. It feels very magical. It feels slightly reminiscent of the excitement that you had on Christmas Eve when you were a child, and I don't know, you were sort of bursting for it all to happen and very excited, and it gives me that sort of feeling when I go and have a look at lights and things in the neighbourhood. So maybe you'd like to do that. That might be a lovely thing to do. And then you come home to a nice warm house and a hot drink or glass of wine, whatever you fancy, and snuggle down. So you've had the contrast of the cold outside and then the warmth of being inside again. But if you can't get outside, you know, quite often in this country, in England, it rains on Christmas Day and it's not particularly nice to go out in that kind of weather. So maybe do some stretches at home. Do some squats and star jumps and just get the blood moving around your body. It lifts your spirits, gets the endorphins flowing. It changes your, what's the word? Yeah, it changes how you're feeling. It livens you up. It's good. It shakes you up. It changes your state of mind in a positive way. So whatever form of movement you feel is right on the day or suits you, just add a little bit in. Just take a little bit of time to move your body. If you can't go outside, open a window and get a bit of fresh air that way. Going back to Christmas Eve, talking about going out after sort of 3 o'clock when it's getting dark and having a look at the lights. A few years ago, I was introduced to an Icelandic tradition, which I'd never heard of before, but I've incorporated into my own Christmases alone now. So it's my new tradition. And it's, as I said, an Icelandic tradition, and they give and receive books on Christmas Eve and then sit Christmas Eve and read the books, either together or on their own. And I think that's a lovely tradition. Now, it's called Jóla Blokkaflöð. Now, I'm probably saying that wrong. I do apologise if you're Icelandic. But it basically means a book flood. Jóla Blokkaflöð. So this book flood is everybody getting a book on Christmas Eve and sitting and reading. And as a reader myself, I love that idea. And several years in a row now, I've gone out on Christmas Eve and I've bought a book for myself to read on Christmas Eve. It hasn't always been a new book. Sometimes I've been to a charity shop when I haven't had a huge amount of money, and I've chosen a book there to bring home and to be part of my tradition. you can give somebody else a book on Christmas Eve and introduce them to this new tradition. It's a lovely thing to do. But if you don't like reading books, it could be a non-fiction book if there's a topic that you're interested in learning about. It doesn't have to be a novel. So maybe something sparked your interest in the last few months and you'd like to get a book to learn more about it. So that's what you could do for yourself as your new tradition on this Christmas when you're spending it alone. And because you are alone, you've got that time to read, and you can read for as long as you like. You know, there's nobody asking you to, you know, come and join in a party game or something like that. So yes, that's a nice tradition to introduce to your own Christmas when you're on your own. If you don't like reading novels or non-fiction, you could choose a book of puzzles. That could be crosswords or Sudoku, word search, any of those type of things. So it's still a book, it's still an activity to do that's relaxing and quiet. You can snuggle up on the sofa or in a chair, and you can carry on doing it on Christmas Day if you're enjoying the book and you want to keep reading. So they're the 5 tips. I hope they're really helpful. I found them helpful on the years where I've had Christmas on my own. And it's not to negate the fact that doing your first Christmas on your own is an experience. It's a big adjustment if you've always been used to family Christmases and suddenly you find yourself on your own for whatever reason. Some people choose to spend Christmas on their own. It's what they prefer. They love it, and they will carve out that time for themselves because they know it's important for them to have that time and relaxation and peace and quiet. But I think, I mean, this holds for whether you're doing family Christmas or Christmas solo, is to have realistic expectations. We're sold this view of what Christmas is like. You know, it's all happy families and beautifully laid tables and food that's not burnt or late to the table or spilt or left because everybody's got a hangover and they don't feel like eating. And I think most people's Christmases aren't like that, are they? You know, we don't live in a John Lewis advert. It's just every day, isn't it? It's like any other day, but with more pressure. And it can be a lot of fun. You know, I've had some lovely Christmases in the past. It can be an awful lot of fun, but it is a lot of pressure. And when you're spending time with people who you don't normally spend that much time with, you know, things can get a bit a bit stressful, a bit taxing, can't they? You know, even as adults, if you go home to your family for Christmas and your parents and perhaps your siblings, everybody falls back into character, don't they? You know, you meet your own teenage self at the door, and all those sort of narks and grizzles and things all come to the surface again, and it's, I don't know, it's quite embarrassing really, isn't it, how we all behave when we're together like that. So have a think about those kind of things in the run-up to Christmas if you're doing Christmas alone, because the grass isn't greener. The grass isn't greener at all. You know, a lot of people have very stressful Christmases. They're arguing and, you know, falling out and old family feuds, you know, come to the surface. It's a bit like being in a pressure cooker for a few days. You know, it's not natural, is it? It's not natural to spend that much time with people who perhaps you only see once or twice a year. So if you're on your own, you don't have to put up with any of that. You know, you don't have the squabbles and the tears and the, you know, bitching. You can avoid all of that and just do exactly what you want. So I hope that helps. I wish you a very, very Merry Christmas, whatever you're doing, family or alone. You're not alone, you're just solo. And it can be a lovely time of the year. And really, it's what you make it, isn't it? Go into it deciding it's going to be a nice day. And it will be. Okay, thank you for listening. Bye.